Good YouTube, it's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV back at y'all with another one. So we got some great news. As 4-division world champion Mexican superstar boxer who is the unified super middleweight WBC, WBA, WBO, Ring Magazine, super middleweight world champion superstar boxer Saul Canelo Alvarez, and undefeated IBF super middleweight world champion superstar boxer Caleb Sweethand Plant essentially have agreed to a deal for a September 18th showdown for Undisputed at 168. Now, there was some talks of negotiations hitting the snag, and they couldn't come to an agreement, as that PBC, Premier Boxing Champion, founder and advisor Al Heyman was asking Canelo Alvarez, according to reports and according to people close to Canelo Alvarez, to sign a 3-fight deal. Canelo Alvarez is currently a network free agent. So with that said, Canelo Alvarez reportedly had been willing to sign a 2-fight deal where he would fight Caleb Plant on Fox PBC and then on pay-per-view, and then fight another fight. More than likely it would have been against undefeated 2-time super middleweight world champion Mexican superstar boxer David Benavidez. With that said, now the reports have surfaced that Al Heyman has given Canelo Alvarez an offer of the biggest payday of his career for this Undisputed showdown with Caleb Sweethand Plants for Undisputed. With that said, we know Canelo Alvarez was making about $30 to $32 million a fight. Maybe slightly more, slightly less, give or take. With that said, it's being reported that Al Heyman is giving Canelo Alvarez the biggest payday of his career for this fight with Caleb Sweethand Plant. Now, is this an indication that they believe that Canelo Alvarez will do business with them moving forward? Or is this an indication that they have all confident in Caleb Plant that he could be victorious in this fight? Canelo Alvarez, 56 wins, 1 loss, 2 draws, 38 big wins by way of knockout. He is 31 years of age, stands at 5'8" with a 70-inch arm reach. The last time we saw him in the ring was May of this year when he took on and defeated then undefeated 2-division WBO world champion superstar boxer from Britain, Billy Joe Saunders. He got a stoppage victory over Billy Joe Saunders, okay? That's the last time we saw Canelo Alvarez in the ring. And the question is, Al Heyman and the PBC, they have this much confidence that they'll give Canelo Alvarez the biggest payday of his career to stage his fight on their network with a 1-fight deal and in hopes of Caleb Plant beating Canelo Alvarez, or, they believe that Canelo Alvarez will do business with them there moving forward, okay? Caleb Plant, 21 wins, no losses, no draws, 12 wins by way of knockout. Caleb Plant is 29 years of age. He stands at 6'1" with a 74-inch arm reach. And the last time we saw him in the ring was January this year when he took on his IBF mandatory challenger, Caleb Truitt, in which he got a unanimous decision victory. With that said, Caleb Plant is going to have a 4-inch height advantage, 4 to 5-inch height advantage over Canelo Alvarez, and he's going to have a 4-inch arm reach advantage over Canelo Alvarez. And he's a slick, pure boxer that can give Canelo Alvarez tons and tons of trouble. But with that said, they're looking to give Canelo Alvarez the biggest payday of his career, according to reports, for this fight, to have his services on the PBC. That is huge, okay? That's absolutely enormous, okay? Because Canelo Alvarez is a megastar, no doubt. Is Canelo Alvarez overhyped, underhyped, however you perceive Canelo Alvarez? Canelo Alvarez has fought some of the best, whether you thought they was past their prime, in their prime, or, too early in their careers, whether you thought Canelo Alvarez got gift decisions or not. Nonetheless, Canelo Alvarez, if you thought he had to be forced into the fight with Gennady Triple G Golovkin, he fought Floyd Mayweather, he lost, okay, big, okay? Nonetheless, this is a huge fight. This is historic on both parts. Why is it historic on both parts? Because should Caleb Plant win the fight, he'll be the first undisputed super middleweight world champion in the history of the sport of boxing. He's going to go down in the history books as the groundbreaker to become undisputed in that division. Obviously, if Canelo Alvarez wins, that would be the same feat, right? But on top of it, with Canelo Alvarez, he'll be the first Mexican for all 4 major belt sanctioned body holder in the history of the sport of boxing as well. Obviously, first time in his career being undisputed. He's been unified at middleweight. He's been unified, obviously, at super middleweight. We know this already, okay? He's been unified, I believe, at junior middleweight as well, 154. So with that said, Canelo Alvarez, this is historic. He's already a 4-division world champion. He's chasing history. He's chasing a legacy. Now, does he always give us the fights that we want at the time? No. Okay, I wanted to see Canelo Alvarez for undisputed at middleweight when he said he wanted to become the first undisputed middleweight Mexican world champion in history of sport of boxing, and he was only 1 fight away from doing that after he beat Gennady Triple G Golovkin, who was the reigning middleweight world champion, unified world champion, and all he had to do was beat undefeated 2-division world champion, who at the time was the WBO middleweight reigning world champion, superstar boxer, and that is Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade. And nonetheless, Canelo Alvarez, he opted to not fight Demetrius Andrade. He opted to go to 168, fight, I believe at the time, Rocky Fielding, or maybe I believe he went to 175 and challenged Sergey Karsakovalev at 175. Nonetheless, he opted not to take the fight with Demetrius Andrade, and most, including myself, felt like he just didn't like the style matchup between himself and Demetrius Andrade. Demetrius Andrade being about 6'1", 6 feet to 6'1", with a 74-inch arm reach, but he's a quick, slick, southpaw boxer. Okay, those we saw when he fought. When that being Canelo, when he fought Erislandy Lara, that gave Canelo Alvarez tons and tons of problems. Erislandy Lara's movement, his range, his length, his slickness, that gave Canelo Alvarez problems. We know the slick ability, pure boxing ability of Floyd Mayweather, who beat everybody, gave Canelo Alvarez problems, okay? Why? Because Canelo Alvarez doesn't have the quickest feet in the world. So when you're a slick mover and a slick boxer, that's the style that gives Canelo Alvarez problems. And then I felt that as if he avoided Demetrius Andrade fight, okay? And another fight everybody was calling for was a fight between himself and undefeated reigning WBC middleweight world champion, a 2-division world champion, superstar boxer, Jamal Lyons Only Charlo. He was in position to fight both these guys multiple times at 154, at 160. He had opportunities to fight both these guys, and he just didn't take it. Jamal Charlo was his mandatory WBC challenger at 160, and he opted to be franchised. The first time that was introduced to the sport of boxing, in the history of the sport of boxing, and the fans, the first time we heard anything about this, the WBC opted to make him the franchise champion, meaning he didn't have to fight any of his mandatories, meaning he didn't have to fight Jamal Charlo, and they elevated Jamal Charlo from the WBC regular champion to the WBC super champion, okay? So he didn't fight Jamal Charlo. So those 2 fights are the fights that everybody points to and say, listen, these are the 2 fights that we want to see. And then when he made his way to 168, instead of facing off against the 2-time super middleweight WBC world champion, superstar boxer David Benavidez for his WBC title, he campaigned for David Benavidez's title after David Benavidez missed the weight on the scale, okay, and he had to vacate the belt because he missed weight on the scale, and they stripped him of the title. He won the fight. He's undefeated, but Canelo Alvarez never made mention of chasing those belts at 168 when David Benavidez was the belt holder. And David Benavidez is one that state this as well. He says that Canelo Alvarez wasn't talking about becoming undisputed or fighting for this WBC title until I lost it on the scales. And when he lost it on the scales, Canelo Alvarez, he petitioned the WBC to face off against Avni Yildirim for the vacant WBC title, in which the WBC sanctioned body and the board, they abide, and 32 out of 32 board members, 31 agreed that Canelo Alvarez should be able to allow to fight Avni Yildirim for the vacant WBC title. But DAZN and Oscar De La Hoya, legendary Hall of Famer turned promoter of Golden Boy Promotion, who promoted Canelo Alvarez at the time, was unwilling to do so. He wanted Canelo Alvarez to fight better opposition. They ended up parting ways, having a rough, rocky breakup. And then Canelo Alvarez became a free agent, okay? And he fight for the vacant WBC title anyway. He just did so against then undefeated WBA super middleweight world champion British superstar boxer Caleb Smith. And he beat Caleb Smith in unification bout, picked up WBC and WBA all in one fight. And then we know he fought Billy Joe Saunders, picked up the WBO, and the rest is history. We're going into this fight with Canelo Alvarez as the ring belt, WBC, WBA, and WBO super middleweight champion, and Caleb Plant is the IBF. So this is Undisputed. It's historic. Great news. Looks like September 18th. There was talks it could possibly be September 11th, but September 18th seems to be the date. Massive mega payday for Canelo Alvarez on either Fox pay-per-view or Showtime pay-per-view, but I believe it's going to be Fox pay-per-view. Can't wait. That's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button, drop a comment in the comment section, let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
This is Amanda, the real deal Serrano, and you're watching Blue Blood Sports TV.